I just want to be able to see everybody. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Kevin Altamirano. I've been in this community now for 7 years. Just a quick history of my life. I was born in Miami, Florida. My parents immigrated to this country in the 90s from Nicaragua. I was born in Miami, Florida, so I was born a citizen. Lived there for 2 years. We came over to Liberal, Kansas. We lived here for 8 years, went back to Florida. There for another 10 years. I finished high school there, did a year of college, and although I've seen so many people come in and out of this city because they say there's nothing to do or they're tired of the same old, I was in, the epicenter of the fun that you could be in. I was in Miami, Florida, and I still moved here because this place it treated me so well growing up. I couldn't have imagined a better childhood. Grew up, went to McKinley Elementary, we still use that facility now. Again, I'd like to say also that my opinions and my beliefs that I'm going to share with you today do not represent any entity or organization that I represent. And you'll find out, I guess, later. I'll be as transparent as possible about everything about me. So I came back here in 2013. Father handed me a used Honda Civic, $1,700. He's like, I believe in you, go do it. And thankfully, I already had family here that had immigrated from Nicaragua when we were living here when I was a kid. My aunt owns a restaurant here. Another aunt of mine owns a Roller Prestige office where they sell incredible appliances for people, high quality stuff. Started off, paid $1,000 of that $1,700 that I started off with on an EMT class that I never went and finished and tested, and spent a lot of money on dumb stuff I shouldn't have. And yeah, that's on me. Got an incredible job. Also at the high school as a paraprofessional. I was an ESL para, so I worked very closely, as close as you could, with the immigrant students that were coming over here, trying as hard as they could to learn the English language. And I saw their difficulties. Over those first 2 years that I worked at the high school, my cousin's girlfriend at the time, just one day after school, was like, hey, there's a student here that, his big brothers, they were staying with him at a hotel. They were just staying in a hotel each day, and they're gone. And he decided he wanted to stay. He likes it here. He doesn't want to leave. He's going to fight and try to make it. I was, okay. Well, I was renting an apartment at West Can at the time, and it's like, he can come with me. He can stay with me, and we'll figure things out. Fed this guy. We cooked together. We played music together, and took him to school every day. And after school, we went home, and until finally he got some more help from other family members and relatives he had nearby. And, and we still keep in touch on Facebook. Then again, another student, also that I had grown close to as I worked with him. I believe this is already after I had left Liberal High School and began my career for the city of Liberal as a firefighter, and I was so blessed to receive that opportunity to serve my community. The student asked me, and he told me, I'll pay the gas and everything. I'll even buy you breakfast and lunch. I was like, that's good enough for me. I drove him and his father all the way to Kansas City and translated for him in an immigration interview, pretty much. And he presented his case, his case for his asylum, I believe is what he was claiming. He was a student from Guatemala. And so he explained his story there about how he fled from his country because in his neighborhood they terrorized him. There were gangs and thugs, and and I believed him. Yeah, I totally understand. I mean, there's so many reasons why my parents decided to move from Nicaragua. They wanted a better life for me, and I'll do whatever I can to help anyone else also achieve that same life. Persephone, you gave such an incredible story of, you and all of us. We're there. We're right with you. We've met some terrible people. There are crappy people wherever we go. The deputy chief talked about how we dream of a day where our services will no longer be needed. A utopia where everybody will be a good person and no crimes will ever be committed. We'll never get there. And that's how we as a community can do the best that we can together and work together to see where each other has need and step up, On July 28th, there was just so many things that came out of nowhere. I won't say out of nowhere at that commission meeting, but a lot of concerns about the police officers working with ICE. And I completely understood how I think they can help with a peaceful transition I think it's much better for individuals that are already out in your community, that are introducing themselves to the Hispanic community, that are trying to make good relationships, to be the ones to knock on the door and be like, hey, I'm sorry, we're here, we're assisting these people, they're here to talk to this individual. Look, we had 4, I believe, people that were being targeted by ICE when they came, and I saw the GoFundMes. Let us as a community help those people. Let us as a community start the GoFundMes. If we as a community say, yeah, I got a couple bucks to spare to help with court fees, let's do it. That's fine. We want everyone here to have the same, economical and financial and family and just the pursuit of happiness. This is what it's all about, right? That's what makes this country so great. This country, more than any other country, accepts more immigrants. By the 1980s already, more black people had already come to this country than had been brought over as slaves. Surely they did it because they believed in the American dream that they had been hearing across the seas, that this was the place to be. Yeah, we had a rocky start as a country, and when we're nearing the time, I think, the lifespan of a great civilization, of a great society. We're getting to this point now where things are going to get super shaky. We've all been watching the news the last 4 years, how much the media and everything has been trying to divide this country. But here we are, and we can get together, and we can try to unify and try to figure this thing out. But as a community, so once we, and we've already established that, it's a 60% or maybe more majority Hispanic community in this place. So I'm a little hesitant to once, we try to corner the commission and say, figure out what you can do for us. And if you don't figure out something, then, we don't believe that you care about us. Let us as a community help those people. I'll house anybody that needs a place to stay. I'll take anybody again to Kansas City that needs to make that interview. We need more people like Janet that are running classes to teach people how to become citizens. That's incredible. I don't believe in white privilege. I know that as a Hispanic, as an American, that true privilege comes when your parents stick together and raise you in a home. And I know that's hard, and I know it's almost impossible to see. We're at a point in our country where the divorce rate is 50%. You are truly blessed. You are truly almost privileged if you actually, get to adulthood and your parents are still together. Persephone, and it was incredible how those ladies, address you, and they're like, okay, so as to not offend you, what can we call you? How should we address you? And that's wonderful. Janelle, I'm so sorry for, all the hurtful things you have experienced as you've grown up. Tell our community, we've got your back. Do you know how you show those people? Do you know how you show them up that what they said isn't going to faze you? You become successful. As Persephone said, you become a victor. You, despite all that crap that those people threw at you because they thought it was going to bring you down, because they're going to be flipping your burgers, okay? And you're going to be running a business, and you're going to be successful, and you're going to be proud. And you're going to say, I didn't let what they tried to throw at me stop me. And that's the attitude we all got to have. And yeah, like just to reiterate it one more time, there's going to always be crappy people. But as we as a community, we can not cancel them, teach them, inform them. The people that are raised up with that sentiment, with that kind of ideology, it's because they were shown to be that way. Nobody is born racist. They're shown, they're brought up in that way. I grew up here in McKinley, and one of my best friends, after I had moved to Florida, we kept in touch on Facebook. He's like, he was surprised when I told him I wasn't Mexican, because he assumed everybody that was Hispanic here was Mexican. I was like, no, I'm Nicaraguan, actually. Did I think he was ignorant? No, he wasn't informed, he wasn't taught, and that's fine. I love, like how many have said here, the diversity of our community. I moved back here. I'm 26, I have a career, a business, a family, and it's because I believed in the opportunities that this place could afford me, and it has not let me down. So I'll do whatever I can to help anybody here achieve those same successes. And so it worries me a little bit once we start, looking at the commission and saying, provide a program for the majority, and if you don't do so, then we see that you're not really caring about us. Instead, Kathleen, absolutely, come up with something, a program that we can target out the people that you worked with that need that help. I'm appalled to hear that there's a possibility of people working in restaurants that are not getting paid, or that if we can prove that, yeah, their rent rates are higher, that's stuff we can single out, and we as a community, we can make those changes. But as a community, I feel like that's the right way to approach it. I came back here because I believed in this community. I'll be here till I retire. I hope to run my business even long after that. And I think as a community, we can continue to make this place an incredible place to live.